Welcome to this episode of the Running on Thin Air podcast, where we talk everything running, training, racing, and the endurance community. I'm your host, Brian Taylor, and today I am super excited to have Maggie Breitenstein joining me. Maggie is an incredible athlete who I've had the pleasure of knowing for just about a year. And full disclosure, I've also been coaching her. So I've had full front row access to her success. She just finished Boston Marathon, and she's here to give us all the details about that race and so much more. Maggie, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Brian. I am so excited to be here with you. It's been a great year since knowing you, so I'm excited to go through it with you.
Awesome. It's going to be fun. Before we get rolling into all those details, why don't you give us just a brief introduction to yourself? What makes Maggie Maggie?
Sure. I would say when you say my name and I think about who I am, I think the first word is goofy. Just a very easygoing, goofy person who just wants to have fun, and running does that for me. So I've done it ever since I was in the 7th grade, and it's been a big part of who I am. So yeah, I think you got to be a little bit of crazy to be doing it for that long. So we'll say that too.
That's awesome. And I will have to say, the goofy part, I certainly understand. I've been able to spend plenty of time with you out on a trail and also just seeing your photos. And I know you're a goofball. So it certainly adds to the fun for sure. So you kind of already led me off to the first question, but I kind of was interested in hearing, like, what got you into running? It sounds like you've been running since the 7th grade. Was this something that your parents got you into? Did you see some show on TV, or were you forced into it with a sport like soccer or something else? How did you get interested in just running?
Well, I got into it because I was so bad at basketball, but my coach said, "Oh, I think Maggie would be really good at running instead." I've done Irish dance since I was in the 5th grade, and I think in, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I'm like, okay, I've only done this one thing my whole life. Let's try something new. So I did basketball, and I think I made the B team or whatever the worst team was. I was on that team, and I was coached by one of the girls' dads, and in the 7th grade, he was like, I think he talked to my parents first, but he said, Maggie would be really good at running. And so my parents put me in, junior high cross country. And I would run probably once or twice a week, but I would win the meets, like with no experience really, because I would do basketball still. I would do the Irish dancing, and then I would just go run, and I would win. And so going into high school, I kept doing it because I liked it. I think it's kind of part of our Breitenstein genes. But going into high school, I did dance still and the running, but I got a stress reaction because I think I was just doing too much. And so I was kind of forced with, all right, should we keep doing the dance or should we, switch to running? And I was like, well, I think I'm doing way better at this running thing, so let's just fully commit to it. We'll say goodbye to dance for now. It was great for, the 10 years that I did do it, but it was time for something new. So I did the running thing, and it turned into everything. And then I went ahead and did it in college and still doing it now after college.
Wow. All right. So we'll get into some of that, but I'm kind of curious. Like, most of the time in other sports, running is the torture or the punishment for not executing your plays correctly or not doing something else. Did you not feel that way in basketball? What do you think it was that your coach saw in you that, besides maybe you weren't the most stellar basketball player, what do you think he saw in you or she saw in you that said, maybe Maggie should just run?
Sure, I think it probably was just, after a game, it's a lot of back and forth up and down the court, and I just don't know that I ever showed signs of getting tired. And we would do drills, of course, in practice. We would have, you would run laps, and I don't know that I was ever way out in the front, but I just went and did it, and I was just not winded afterwards, I guess. And he thought she could be a really good runner. I also was, I was very small, and so I think he's like, yeah, she's probably like 70 pounds right now. This girl could go run forever. being a little middle schooler, and he was right. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's funny. So you ran cross country in middle school. Did you do track as well?
I don't know. I did not. I think I did track for a season when I was in like kindergarten or first grade. And it was just one of those things my parents thought, oh, this would be fun if they did it. And so just one or two little track things and just the dance usually.
Yeah. So I'm interested, we'll move on to high school, and you did cross country in high school, obviously, but so I didn't personally run cross country in high school, but I've known a lot of people that have. And my uncle has been a cross country coach, so I hear a lot of stories. And I'm just interested what that experience was like for you, because it feels like there's some common themes in it that I won't share until after I hear what you say. Um, I'm just interested what you thought about high school cross country and your teammates.
Sure. It was, I had pretty much a perfect experience with it. I went to an all girls school, so the entire team was girls, and also it was a no cut sport. I don't think we ever ended up cutting anybody. So the school had about, 120 to 140 people per grade, 500 to 600 girls at the whole school. Over 100 of them did cross country and track. So literally a sixth, probably even smaller than that, did running in high school. And our coach, I guess I won't say his name, but Bird is what we called him. He was the coolest person in the world. He was so goofy. He made it fun. He knew how to like act with all of us girls, even though, he's an older guy, and he was just like the most fun person in the world. And the way that he, organized things, he just did it all in good heart and just to make us all happy. Like he would bring chocolate milk or watermelon or bagels after practice. He would go buy ice cream and just out of his own
Wow.
money, he would do all of these extra things just to make us all happy and make it a really fun experience. Or sometimes we would get an icy treat literally in the middle of a run. He's like, "All right, everybody, let's go. 100 girls to the gas station, and we all get a speedy free in the middle of our run." And he made it so low key that when we did have to, work hard on the track at a workout versus like an easy run, it was just so effortless to do it. And he was fast too. I think he won a couple track races for his age group, like on the national level. This man could move. Besides one girl who was a senior when I was a freshman, he could probably beat every single girl on the team in a 5K, 10K, and beyond. He was unbelievable. So I think he was the reason that I had such a great experience. And the girls were great. I mean, sometimes there was some drama here and there. I mean, it's 100 girls all together. Yeah, for the most part, it was an awesome experience.
Well, I think you said exactly what I probably expected you to say, because I think I've heard that from almost every single person I've ever heard in cross country, boys or girls side, whichever. Just the camaraderie that you build, and if there's a good coach, which it sounds like you had a really amazing coach, it can just really make lifetime friendships and just change people's lives and perspectives. And especially being no cut too. Like everybody's a part of the team, everybody can contribute. You don't have to win the race to be able to contribute to the team and be a part of it. And I just think that builds a sense of community, which probably carries on long into the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, did you have any standout performances yourself, or memorable? It doesn't necessarily have to be a win. It could have been, but anything that stood out to you besides just all the good times? Were there one or two particular events that stood out to you during that time frame?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's two that really stand out to me. Both of them were my senior year. Kind of a unique experience I had was every single year that I did cross country and track in high school, I would PR. So every cross country season, it would be, a minute faster or something. And I remember my freshman year, my biggest goal was to break 20 minutes in the 5K. And I ran a 19:59, my very last race freshman year. That wasn't one of my favorite races, but that was like a big one. And going forward from there, like getting better every race. That was like, if I look back, those were my favorite moments. But if I had to pick specific moments, my senior year, it was the regional race. And Ohio has a lot of really good runners. Like, Ohio is a very competitive state for sports. I don't know if it's because we have nothing else to do, but we're usually really competitive. And, it was my senior year, and I really wanted to go to state. I'd never gone to state before, on any level, any event, whatnot. Um, and so it was the last race, and to move out of regionals, you have to get in the top 25, and, maybe there's 100, 200 girls. I don't remember the exact number, but I knew what number I was the entire race because Bird would be there. He's like, "You're number 27, you're number 30." And my mom was saying it too. Like, I knew exactly where I was. And there's a video of it, and it's the funniest video in the world because it's the final stretch, and you can tell my legs just are not working. But I'm in the 26th spot. I'm in the first spot that wouldn't go to state, and it was my senior year. And you see this girl, she's a large amount ahead of me, and the finish line is like right there. And I don't know how it happened, but I kicked it into some other gear. My legs are moving so fast, and I caught the girl, but I dove over the finish line. Like, there's a picture of my body like completely contorted, hands flying in the air, and I ended up beating that number 25 girl by 100th of a second.
Oh my gosh.
And in the picture, she's just like having a good time, stopping her watch. And meanwhile, I'm like, my legs
Oh,
are almost in the splits because I'm reaching so far. So
wow.
I think that was my absolute favorite high school race just because I got to go to state, and state was really fun. It was just kind of like a celebration of, how hard I'd worked the past 4 years. And um, our whole team, we got a school bus, and they came up to support me because it was in Columbus and we were in Cincinnati. So it was cool to get like 90 girls out there just to watch one person, and that meant the world to me. Um, yeah.
Wow.
So,
Were you the only one from your school that made it?
hmm
Okay.
yeah, it had
Okay.
been like
Wow.
3 or 4 years since anyone in cross country from our school got to go to state.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's awesome. That's
Then-
awesome. I want to see that photo. That photo sounds like the John Elway Super Bowl photo when he's diving over the goal line and in midair and you see him. So that's what I envision in my head, Maggie.
That's so funny. Yeah, I will share it with you in the video too. It's too good. It's one of my favorites, but yeah.
So you did do track in high school too?
hmm I did track.
And what events did you do in track?
I did the 800 and the 2 mile. I don't know that I was much of a miler just because we had a couple girls that were just really good at it. And also I think if I did the mile I wouldn't get to compete in the 2 mile, and the 2 mile was more my thing. Yeah. Mhm.
Fun.
Yeah.
And so you go through high school, you have a great season, especially in cross country. I'm sure track as well. Uh, did you always have a desire to run in college? Was that something you were pursuing, or did it sort of fall into your lap?
Well, I don't think it hit me until my senior year that it's like, oh, I could do this in college. And um, I do remember at the end of my junior year, I reached out to the coach at University of Cincinnati. I knew that's where I wanted to go. I'm like, I don't know if I'm like fast enough to do this in college. And so I reached out to her, and she basically sent me like, here's what we would expect from, times. I at that point hadn't reached a sub 19 5K. So that next season, it would have been my fall cross country season. I got an 18:59, So that kind of got me in the door with them. Like, okay, you can come for a visit, try this out, see if, you fit well with the team and the team likes you. So I did that my senior year, and I was kind of late to the whole process, I think, because I didn't get that time goal until the fall of my senior year, and most girls commit like their junior year. They commit so early. So um, I ended up being a walk-on. Um, they let me on the team. The girls like me. I like the girls. So April of my senior year, I got to, sign the papers and say I was going to UC to run. Yeah.
That's exciting. Talk about that college experience. What was different? I mean, obviously a lot is different from a high school experience, but you talked about your experience in high school and how much fun it was. Was this the experience the same in college, or did you get the pressure and feel the pressure from being a much more competitive environment?
I would say both. There were times where it was really, really fun, and you have way more responsibilities, and that can be fun too. Like you get to travel and you get to go fly to races with your teammates. Like that just made me feel super important and super cool. At the start there, and honestly, most of it, I don't know if there was such thing as an easy run. I mean, there were lots of fun runs and but I think most of the time our runs were all under 8-minute mile paces, and looking back at it now, I'm like, how did we do that every single time? It just kind of blows my mind, but it was it was a lot harder, obviously. Like I remember my visit, my coach asked, "Well, how many miles a week do you do now?" And I didn't even have a watch. Like I didn't know how many miles a week I ran, even as a junior or senior in high school, because we did everything by time and we just never looked at the miles because it was just go out there, do it, have a fun time. Um, so when she asked me that, I was like, I don't know. But in college, it's like your weekly mileage is everything. Like you need to be responsible of, okay, Monday we have this workout, but you need to calculate it for every run of the week. Like, what mileage do you need to hit this day in order to reach, your 40 mile an hour weeks? And I was mile an hour, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Um, and I was usually on the lower end just because I would get shin splints. Some girls were doing 50, 60 miles a week. And um, so that was a whole big jump. Like, realizing, okay, this is going to take a lot more work in order to, get better and be able to compete at a college level. But of course, it had all the perks like the nice locker room, weight room, food, free hotel stays and free plane rides and gear. And that part was a lot of fun. And the girls, too. The girls were awesome. Just with it being a smaller team now, because you can't have 100 girls on a cross country team in
Sure.
college.
Yeah.
So having like, if we would travel with 8 to 10, it was really easy to bond with those girls and make these friendships because it was such a tight-knit group. And that made it all the better because you made those lifelong friends out of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. That's great. So you get out of college, probably not pursuing a professional running career at that point. What was that transition like out of college? You go where, you're working out, you're doing, maybe not 50 miles a week, but a lot of miles a week and running with your teammates. And as soon as cross country ends, like there was probably no requirement to do anything at that point. How did that go for you? What was that like to jump out of college and then, especially with running, you have all these obligations now. You get a job, you have everything else. How did running fit into your life after college?
So I'd taken a break for a while, and I'm gonna back up a little bit here and talk about that first marathon I did because I think that set the scene for why I'm here today. Do you care if I talk about that really quick?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my senior year, in cross country. It was a 5-year program, so I was 23 at the time. I'd never gone to conference in track because I was always that middle runner for the 5K, and there were always, 50 to 70 girls entered. And, I would have been middle pack. I wouldn't have scored, so the school was just like, what's the point? You just stay back. And that stunk. But I guess you could look at it in a good way, like there wasn't the pressure of it, but I always missed out. So my senior year, I thought I had a chance to go, and the opportunity kind of got ripped from my hands literally a week or two before. I was a mess. I was really upset. I thought
Oh no.
this was the experience my one time going to track conference. I'd always gone to cross country conference, but never track. And the same thing happened to my roommate. She's actually from Brazil, and she was an 800 runner. And she was like, okay, we don't get to go to conference. This stinks. But the Cincy Flying Pig Marathon is like the weekend after conference, or maybe it was the weekend of conference. She's like, let's just do it. We'll never be this fit again. Let's just send it and see what happens. So we literally signed up. It was 3 days before the pig. Like we signed up on Thursday and the race was on Sunday. So
Oh my gosh.
we did it, and it was funny because Gabby, it's my roommate who wanted to do it too. It was her idea. Her dad was in town from Brazil, her parents were, to celebrate graduation. And he's kind of into ultra running, so he just went to the expo with us and was like, sure, I'll do the marathon too. So we all just signed up. And because I was so low mileage and I would get so much mileage early in the week in our workouts, my long runs were 8 to 10 miles. I never went over 10 miles, maybe twice in the spring semester. I was always like at that 8 mile mark. And some would be like, that's not even a long run. And I would say that now too, after
Yeah.
training the last 2 years. 8 miles is not a long run anymore.
Right.
So I did it, and it was so much fun, that marathon. We had a blast the entire time. It was a tsunami, but like, we were so fit. We were just like running down these roads. People were cheering. We were cheering with them, because it was in Cincy and I had lived there my whole life. I saw so many people I knew, and it was the most fun experience. And people here in St. Louis who have done like 50 marathons, they're like, yeah, Cincy Flying Pig is the best marathon I've ever done. So doing that and having as much fun as I did, even when before that I told myself, you're not going to do a marathon until you're like 30s, whatever. And I did one at 23, and it was the best thing in the world. After I took a summer off of travel and started work, I was like, okay, let's do the pig again. But I trained on my own, and that was so difficult. I was, I'm the kind of like, I love working hard, but if I'm supposed to do an easy run on my own, I would get home from work and I would be tired, and it's like, I don't need to do the easy run. I'll be fine anyways. Sometimes I'd fudge a run here or there and I end up fine. So I wouldn't do that. And I thought, ooh, I could go to Boston. And when I did the next pig, literally a year later, after a couple months of training on my own, I bonked. I crashed. I didn't know what I was doing. I did not train right. I probably ran 20 to 25 miles a week, honestly. I didn't do the proper long runs because I didn't have a group. I tell people this is probably really not that true, but it might be harder to be a runner with a full-time job than it is to be a pro runner, because that's their job. Their job is to run, but us, we have our regular job and then we have to go run after work and that's like two full-time jobs right there. Um, of course, that is not discounting any pro athletes. They work very, very hard, but
100%.
an office job on top of that, it was exhausting. And that's what led me to you. My sister worked with you, and you wanted to start this coaching thing and try it out, and you helped her in a race and she did really well, and she's like, Maggie,
She
help
did.
Brian, like he could help you with all of that and you could go to Boston. So that's what I did. I found you, and you helped me reach every goal that I wanted so far. So
Well, we'll get to what's next, and we'll see if we see if we can continue.
Yeah.
Uh, that's great. So, had you always wanted to do Boston, or did it just sort of come up later as you did the Flying Pig the first time? Was your interest in Boston peak?
I think I always wanted to do it because, you know, it seems like everybody's heard of the Boston Marathon, whether you're a runner or not. People know Boston is special. It's like, it's the world's oldest annual marathon. It's really special that it's here in America, and it's just a huge thing. And, knowing you had to qualify for it, it just was all the more appealing to me that it was like a competitive spot like that. And before I graduated, before I did that other marathon, I thought again, oh, I'll do that like later in my life, in my 30s, whatnot. And that obviously did not end up being the case. But after that first marathon, I ran like a 3:32, just, having fun with it. So I thought, oh, it's not that far. I could I could do this. So why not just keep it up now? While at the time I was 24 and or 23. So let's just try it now and check that box and do it. So that's what I did.
What I'm sorry, what was your standard? Is it 3:30
It's 3:30.
for you?
But then
Okay.
there's that little buffer if
Yeah.
enough people get it.
Yeah. So I'll cheat a little bit. I know you made the standard at your second Flying Pig,
Hmm.
um, but you wanted to get a little extra for the piece that they cut off. You want to talk about what race you chose and why to make sure you added a little bit of extra time
Yeah,
for when they cut that off.
right. And I'm really glad I did because the cutoff was about 7 minutes faster, and I only had a 4 minute buffer. And I told myself, oh my gosh, if the Boston times come out and I didn't make it with that buffer, I would be so upset to, have to wait another year. So, like a week or two after the pig, they always joke, like, while you're in a race, you think to yourself, I'm never signing up for one of these things again. And then you get bored a week later and it's like, ah, no,
Yeah.
it's time to sign up again for another
Yeah.
race. So I just looked up, like, fall races, August, September races in the Midwest, and one of them literally said last chance BQ. This race is solely for people last chance to qualify for Boston because the race was a week before you elected your time in order for Boston to, figure out what the buffer is and if you made it or not. And it was in Chicago and I'm in St. Louis. That's a 4-hour drive. It was a no-brainer to me. It was a flat course, but it's weird because it was loops. It was 8 loops around this park. And the park was open to the public during this marathon. They only
Oh,
let
wow.
300 people in. You needed a time standard to get into this, but you needed the point of it was to lower your buffer time so you had a better chance of getting in, basically. And I'm like, you know what? We're just going to do it. We might as well. So it ended up being a really great race. It was a cool morning. It was pretty flat. I could see my family 8 times throughout. And honestly, checking the box,
It's awesome.
oh, 1 lap done, 7 to go, 2 laps done, 6 to go. Mentally, that was really nice. Even though it was, a 3 point something mile loop, it flew by and it was really fun because you knew where the aid stations were every lap, you knew where the hydration was, and it ended up being a great race.
Cool. Yeah, that's actually a good format for that purpose. I mean, that's actually really good because there's no surprises down the road. You know exactly what you get every 3 miles. You're going to get the same thing. So that's actually probably maybe not the format you'd want for a destination marathon, but certainly for the purpose, that's probably perfect.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So you made it. You obviously shaved enough time because they cut it again. So you did make it. Um, really, like Boston is so many people's dreams. Like you said, everybody's heard of it. Everybody dreams of finishing on Boylston Street. It's just such a famous and impressive race and even to watch, like it just gets people's emotions going just watching a race like that. So really, you did it just over a week ago or a week ago, just over a week ago, I guess. Sorry, my time is wrong. Um, I just riff a little bit on what that experience was for you. Everything from, the expo leading up to the race itself, and up to the point of when you actually crossed that finish line on Boylston Street.
Sure. And I can't believe that it's over. I had been looking forward to it for so long. And, leading up to it, I didn't want it to happen because I love, thinking about how cool it was going to be and, how much fun we were going to have. So I didn't want it to be over at all. And obviously it goes by in a flash. So I still can't believe that. I think tomorrow it had been 2 weeks since it happened. Um, but yeah, we planned a little family vacation out of it. The expo runs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the race being Monday, and it was so packed. It was, I knew there would be a lot of people, but I didn't realize walking down Boylston Street, the expo is on Boylston Street and, there's shops all along and then you can walk to the finish line. It was shoulder to shoulder. It was so packed how many people there were. Runners and non-runners. I think they might have had like a baseball game too. So it was just, the city was insane. And, um, the expo, it was very crowded. It was super cool, but like, all the gear, again, shoulder to shoulder, people going this way, that way, bumping into you, like it was crazy. But it was really cool to be there because obviously they do everything super big. Like there's running signs all over the city. I think they might be there like all the time. I don't think they just put it there for the Boston Marathon. It's just the city's always decorated, especially in that area with Boston Marathon things and Nike running signs about Boston. It's just the coolest thing. And so the expo was wild. And honestly, afterwards, I'm like, okay, let's get out of the city. Let's let's go somewhere where it's more chill and we can relax and put our feet up instead. So it was really, really cool, but lots of people. It was it was wild. But seeing the finish line was really cool too. You could take a picture with it and, kind of picture how you'd be coming down the street with everybody on the sidelines. It's really neat. But should I like go into the actual race itself?
Yeah, yeah. Just riff on everything about that whole race.
Sure. I had read so many things on Reddit. Like I would always look up Boston Marathon opinions, what to expect, like tips for first timers. Like I was constantly reading about what the experience would be like, and I remember one. It was the start is downhill. I don't know exactly how much, but lots of people were saying don't go too fast at the start. You're gonna feel good because of the crowd, and it's all downhill. But don't do that because the hills later on, um, you'll get gassed. It's a marathon, and also your quads are gonna be wrecked. And I thought, oh, I run so many hills here in St. Louis. I'm used to the hills in Cincinnati. It's not gonna be that bad. It was bad. It was I was not expecting my quads to be that tired after the first 3 to 4 miles. And granted, I went out the pace that I wanted to go, probably too fast. I wanted to go out slower, but it was so crowded. And, you just go with the flow of people, and that's what ended up happening. So I don't know if I would have, chilled out a little bit, my quads wouldn't have hurt so bad. But, after mile 5, I was like, okay, maybe my quads will get a little bit better towards the end. And I'd never experienced that feeling before of them feeling so tired. And in that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, all of those Reddit posts were so right. They were not wrong in the slightest. But they were also right about the crowd being crazy. So many people at the start. Um, I guess I could kind of back up here. There's a whole system with the buses starting in Boston versus the buses in Hopkinton to like shuttle the runners to the village. And then at the village, it's runners everywhere. The porta potty lines are so long. Um, and then you have a 0.7 mile walk to the start,
Oh, wow.
which I'm sure any Boston runner looking into it when they start reading about it, they know to expect it, but it was just this long walk to the start that it was fun because you could think about it, but at some points we were stopped shoulder to shoulder. Like I was still a half mile away, but it was so crowded we were stopped in a sea of
Wow.
people. And so when you get to that starting area, it was just like if you're in this wave and this corral and this color bib, you could go. If not, you guys need to stay and hang around with like they had free sunscreen, body glide, like everything you could ever want. Um, so, anyways, back to the race. People all over, and everyone wants high fives. I also read like if you do anything at Boston, high five the kids that are cheering you on, or
Uh,
um, high five the Wellesley people in the college there, or Boston College. Like, there's so many fans that like interact with them and have fun. And so in those spurts, like at Wellesley College, there were girls all over. And I don't know when the tradition started, but it's a thing to like kiss the Wellesley girls.
yeah.
All of them had signs like, kiss me, I'm Irish. Kiss me, I'm from Ohio. Kiss me like I'm cute or something. Like, they all had signs, and I did see lots of a certain age male group kissing young girls. And I'm like, wow, this really happened. It was
Yeah.
that whole time those that entire college was screaming so loud, and I just had my hand out like I think I took a video at one point, but I was probably high-fiving people for a good minute, just like going down and like you make eye contact with the fans too, and they're just like loving it, and they're all like, "Slay girl, go!" It was amazing. I'm so glad that I had fun with those parts of like, all right, let's enjoy this, like let's have fun with it. And some of them, they would high five so hard, like my body would turn, and I'd like
Jeez.
kind of almost get stopped because like my hand was continuously going back and forth from the high fives, but it was so worth it.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to do Boston, make sure you high five people because sometimes I was really worried about the quads and the fact I had 13 more miles to go, but they put a smile on my face and reminded me what this is all about, and that was really cool. I also ran
That's
with
awesome.
Matt James for a little bit. If you know who that is, he was an old bachelor from a couple years ago.
No.
But everyone was cheering for him, and I'm like, oh, is that the Matt James I was thinking of? And he was just right next to me. But I didn't think to be like, oh, take a picture with me or anything. But that was kind of fun because sometimes there's some famous people around you.
Yeah.
Um, but there were, let's see, I think at mile 16, there was a hill, and I'm like, is this Heartbreak Hill? Because it was a large hill. And I thought, I don't see any signs. Like, I kind of would have thought there would be a lot of people with heartbreak signs, and I didn't see them. So I was like, this must not be it, but it was a hard hill. And then more rolling hills. There was another one at mile 18, and I thought, oh, yeah, I know heartbreak's around 20, but we're at 18 and this is a pretty big hill. I'm like, maybe this is heartbreak. And I thought about asking someone next to me, like, is this heartbreak? And obviously I did not do that, but made it up that hill. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't it. I didn't see any heartbreak signs. So I guess I'll just keep going. More rolling hills. And then mile 20, whatever, I started seeing the heartbreak signs. And it was bad. It's, it's a it's a decent hill.
Yeah.
Again, I thought, I'll be fine. I'm used to Forest Park and the hills there. No. It was, I think at one point I was completely bent over like 90 degrees, just trying to make my way up this hill. And I told myself, just don't stop. I never stopped during the marathon to walk or stretch. Even on the hills, I just, shuffled a bit more. But after that hill, this was probably one of the hardest marathons of the four. Um, I was struggling. I was in the
Yeah.
pain train. I was just, I was ready for it to be over, but I was sad about that because I still didn't want it to be over. I just wanted to live in that excitement of Boston forever. But I did hit a point where I'm like, okay, this needs to be done. I need to stop and walk. Made it through some more rolling hills. I got to see my family at 25, and I had my watch give me text notifications, so friends were texting like, "Come on, keep going, don't stop." And that was such a blessing. Lydia, my sister, she could text me like, "We're at mile 25, look on your right side, we're by this, holding this colored sign," which was so easy. That was awesome. And I was
Yeah.
just looking forward to them. I'm like, okay, mile 25. We can get there. After I see them, I just have a mile to go and it's done. And so I had replayed that moment of turning left on Boylston Street so many times in my head. I would think about it at work, I would think about it on my runs, and I would start crying just picturing that because so many people said the crowd on Boylston is so cool. But I think I was just too tired to cry. And I'm an
Yeah.
emotional person, so I cry all the time. And I turned left and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Smile and have fun. But like, I couldn't even think to cry. I was that tired and just done. But it was
Yeah.
really cool that I didn't imagine the street being as wide as it was. Like, there's a lot of room and, you know, there's police everywhere. There's like military people.
Sure.
Yeah, for obvious reasons, but so the crowd was kind of pushed back farther, but it was just the coolest thing. I'm like, all right, this is it. This is the final stretch. It was a quarter mile down Boylston, and then that was it. And I always think, do something cool at the finish line, and I never do because I'm either too tired, I'm awkward, I don't know what to do. I'm always just like, thumbs up. So of course, my finish line photo is just funny, but it was really neat. I afterwards I couldn't believe it was done, but I was glad that I had done it. So yeah. It-
That's awesome. What an experience. That's just incredible. And the way you outlined it, like I don't think I could ever go through my marathons and explain in that much detail how I felt along the course because I felt terrible, I think, in every single mile. So it was one answer. But yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any regrets? Anything that you would do differently if you were going to do Boston again?
I don't know. I mean, I was going back and forth. Like when I first qualified for Boston, I thought, oh, just do it for fun. Don't do it for a time goal. And then I'm like, I'm such a competitive person. I need a time goal. And so I came up with one and I was like, it'll still be fun, trying to reach a PR like that because, I'm going a certain pace down there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could PR at Boston. That'd be awesome. I could run a great time. And once I had started and I was feeling good, um, I thought I could still get that time goal, but the quads and everything happened, and I'm like, okay, just take it chill. But even then, I still did not take it that chill. Like it was still 7:30s, 7:20, 7:30, and towards the end it was 7:40, some eights in there. I kind of wish from the start I would have just said, okay, run 8:30 pace the entire time. That way I could have, you know, been more in the moment of this is really fun, this is so cool. But I think like with the whole quad situation, like I can't describe the feeling of how like tired they felt. Every step it was like, "Oh my gosh." Like don't give up, but man, I'm in a lot of pain. My breathing was okay, but I think I never wanted to wish the marathon to be over, and I did in the middle of it because I kept telling myself it's the Boston Marathon, like that's the neatest thing in the world, but I wanted it over halfway into it, and I didn't want to do that. Looking back, I wish I would have just done it for fun or, convinced a friend to do it too, and that way we could have run it together and, taken it easy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, there's always another chance, maybe, if you're still interested down the road.
Hmm.
Yeah, thanks for all that. I think that's really great. And I think a lot of people will get a lot of your experience out of Boston. So I know something else happened that day, um, later that evening. Is there anything you'd like to share about how your Boston Marathon day closed out?
Sure, I would love to. I would show my hand right now, but I don't actually have the ring on. But that night, we had dinner plans, but the dinner plans were running behind. So we had to make a pit stop at a park conveniently with all of our families dressed up in dresses. And a certain somebody got down on his knee and asked me to marry him. So I
Oh,
got engaged the same night that I ran Boston. And I was a little bit mad at everyone because after the race, I was tired. I wanted a Wendy's burger, and everyone's like, "You gotta go, Maggie. You gotta get showered, get a dress on." And I'm like, "Guys, do you not realize what I just did?"
right.
And at that point, I had some suspicions, so I went along with it willingly. I got showered and
That's good.
a dress on, got prettied up. Um, so yeah, that was a big part of the day. That was super fun.
That's awesome. It's just obviously I do that one, but I couldn't be happier for you. And big props to Andy as well. Like congratulations. What a way to just end a Boston Marathon on a great note as well. It's a crazy day. And I understand wanting to eat a Wendy's burger and probably just put your feet up sounded like the best thing, but it's probably topped it in the end.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Look, um, I know we've been going for a while and we need to start wrapping up, but I'd love to just close out the conversation talking about what's next. So you've had a big spring already. You didn't even get through April and you had a big race and now you're engaged. But what's next on your athletic endeavors for the rest of the year?
We got a big one. Javelina 100K.
Yay.
The first ultra, the first trail race, that's in October, end of October. And there might have been some influence from a certain somebody named Brian Taylor to do this because I got to watch him in his 100-mile race last year, which unfortunately ended up a little short. Well, you did the 100K, but
Yeah.
you signed up for the 100-mile and you're going back again to do it. And so Lydia, my sister, who is also one of your athletes, she did the 31K last year, and I think she wants to up her game and go for the 100K. And I thought, well, if she's doing it, I can do it too with her, and we could have fun with it. So we have an ultra coming up in October, which should be really fun. And I've got a Olympic triathlon in June is the next one. But that'll be nice because some cross training in there. But I think after that, I mean, checking one world major off the list, so you might as well get the other six now. But that will probably be the next goal to work on throughout the rest of my life.
Sounds like on some of them, you need to spend a lot of time just trying to actually get in the race.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I want to ask on Javelina first. I don't know how I inspired you to do Javelina because full transparency for everybody that listens to this, that was a very slow lap for you. And the fact that you paced me for what ended up being my third and final lap that day and want to go back is amazing to me because that was, I mean, it didn't feel as long as it was because I had your company and it was great, but still, that had to feel like torture for you for however many hours we were out there just walking most of it, unfortunately, after my knee decided it didn't want to work anymore.
Right. But I will stop you there and say that I had such a fun time. That was like the best six something hours of my life in the middle of the desert at like 11 p.m. at night. The
It was like,
stars in the sky were beautiful. People were fun in their costumes, and we just got to chat for literally hours and hours. And it was so much fun. And knowing that I was somewhat helping you, I didn't care that, I had to go run 20 miles. Ended up being a walk once you got hurt. But it was so fun. I would do it all over again.
Well, it was fun. I could never thank you enough for that lap, Maggie. I don't know if I actually would have made it without you. So I appreciate you spending those hours with me.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny because you mentioned Lydia, and I was texting her the other day about you. And honestly, it'd be hard for me to summarize all of what she said, but it's pretty clear that you two have a really strong bond. She was explaining how honestly you've been a running inspiration to her since even before high school, and spending the time to you as you were selecting your college and all your running in college and then smashing marathons now. Um, so I think you've inspired a lot of people, but certainly Lydia is a number one fan, although it's probably a pretty tight race, is my guess. But she said also that she thinks about you and how strong you are and how fast you are when she gets in her tough spots in her runs. And that just gives her inspiration to be a little bit more like Maggie when she's out there running. So um, obviously, I think you two are best friends and best sisters, and you're a great running buddy. And I will vouch for the running buddy part too, even though we don't get to run together very often, but Lydia certainly does. And so she wanted me to make sure and share that. So that's a pretty strong relationship that you guys have. Something I think that a lot of people would aspire to have as well.
Yeah. That's really sweet. She is my best friend, and I'm so proud of her because she really took this running thing. Like she did her half Ironman races, two of them, and mountain bike races. She really took up competitive things, and her running has taken off the last year, 2 years. She has gotten so much better with your training, and she's stayed on top of it. And it's awesome to see her. Like in that Turkey Day race last year, I think 2 years ago, if somebody told her that she could run a 10K and at like 7:40 something pace, she would have laughed in your face. And she went out there and she did it, and she looked good doing it too.
Yeah.
I think she's having a lot of fun being really good at this sport, and anybody doing this sport is very good at it. But she just, took that competitive part of her and really channeled it for not one of the first times, but she ran like a really, really hard and fast race. So I'm excited to see what more she could do with her marathon and her halftime. So,
Yeah. It's fun. We'll definitely have her on the podcast, but I can say I do track Tuesdays with our Fiddipides run club here locally. And when we get to run together anymore, it's I'll see you at the end because I can't keep up with her. I used to be able to keep up with her, and now there's just no chance. So she's gotten super fast. And like you, always brings a smile to it as well, and then makes everybody else smile. So it's a lot of fun.
yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Well, Maggie, this has been amazing. I always love talking with you, and I know the audience is really going to have fun listening to this conversation. If people wanted to follow you further, where should they find you? Instagram or Strava or
Instagram, my thing, what's it called? Uh,
handle? Is it
Handle.
handle?
It's Mag_Bright, which is spelled like my last name, Breit. And then my Strava, just Maggie Breitenstein. Like Einstein, but with the Breitensten.
Okay. You've had to do that a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll add those in the show notes too, so people can see them. And I have one final question for you. If you could wave a magic wand and you could share some miles running with any person, they don't necessarily have to be alive. They don't even have to be a runner. But if you could go out and share some miles with one person, who would it be and why?
Okay. I'm gonna twist it a little bit. And I'm probably gonna say, and I might this answer might be influenced from the Boston Marathon, but Catherine Switzer. the first woman to do it who really wasn't supposed to be in the race. I think it would be fun to go back in time and like run with her during that, but like not as not be seen by anyone else because I want to see like what people were saying to her or the race director who tried to like kick her off the course and how her coach and her boyfriend responded to it. I think it would have been really fun to just like be part of that and know what she was thinking throughout because I'm pretty sure at one point she thought, I'm not doing this for me anymore. Like, I have to finish this race to prove that, like, women can do it. And thank gosh she did, because look where we are now. Um, I think it took like another 5 years for them to let women in it, but I think that would have been a really cool moment in time and a really cool person to be able to run with and hear how that all happened and witness it firsthand. I think that would have been awesome.
Yeah. That's great. That's inspiring. And I mean, it's sad to think how recent that was, really, in the grand scheme of things. It really wasn't that long ago. But the fact that, well, I just think we all run on and stand on the shoulders of giants. And she's certainly one of them for women in particular and what she did, breaking barriers. So that's great. I love it. Maggie Breitenstein, this has been fun. Your star is rising, and this has just been a blast for me. So thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on. I know I'm going to have you on again in the future. There's probably going to be Javelina episodes,
Yeah.
and you'll be a regular appearance if you're okay with it. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
That would be awesome. I would love to come on again and talk about anything and everything. Yeah.
I love it. Thanks, Maggie. Talk to you later.
Sure. Bye.
Bye. What a great show with Maggie. I really enjoyed hearing about how she came into running, her journey up through Boston, and what's coming up in the future for her. So certainly she will be on the podcast more in the future, and I look forward to those episodes as well. In the meantime, if you're looking for coaching yourself, I do one-on-one coaching, and I have athlete spots available. You can go to my website at 2feetcubed.com. That's all spelled out, TWOFEETCUBED.com. Go check it out. You can set up a free consultation. We can have a conversation and see if it fits. If you like this episode, please subscribe, like on whatever viewer you saw it on or whatever podcast app you listened to it on. We'd sure appreciate it, and that will help us grow. We'll be getting these out about once a month, so look forward to the next episode coming out probably early in June. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining me today. Look forward to talking to you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.